let's go ahead and let's spawn our labels. So spawning labels pretty much works the same way. We'll go to function, we'll call this spawn, we'll call this main label first. We'll spawn the main label, and we'll go and we'll say that this is main label is equal to sk label node. Now, I'm going to add in a font named here, and I love using the font Futura, but you can use any font you want. You can go back to earlier in the course and you can find out what other fonts you want to use, but I'm going to use this label here. I'm going to go to main label dot font size, and we'll make that equal to something like 100. We can always change these values later if we want to. Main label dot font color. And one thing I should mention is that even though I say we can change the value later, oftentimes when you first set things up, the number isn't correct anyway, so it's better to get everything working first before you go and polish your game. We're going to make it an off-white color. All right, and that actually looks pretty good. So, and then we also need a main label dot position, make that equal to CG point. And within that CG point, we're going to say that the CG rect get mid x self.frame, CG rect get mid y self.frame. And remember, this puts it right in the middle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add in an offset of about 200. And what that's going to do is that that's going to put it up into the middle and then move it up to the top here. So if I go to my simulator here, somewhere in the middle will be where it spawns, but if you add 200, it'll move up. If you subtract 200, it'll go down. Remember, y is up and down, and x is across. All right, so that's pretty much all we need to do there, except for we're going to go to main label dot text is equal to, we'll say start. And we're going to go to self dot add child, and we're going to go to main label. All right, let's do the same thing, but this will be spawn score label. And we'll say that this is score label is equal to sk label node. Okay, and we're going to say that it is also Futura. You don't have to use Futura, and you don't have to make it the same font. You can make it two different fonts. Let's do score label dot font size is equal to, and we're going to make this much smaller, like 40. Score label dot font color is equal to off white color. Also, I should mention score label dot color. There is a score label dot color, but it's not the same as the font color. So if you want to set the font color, you have to actually use font color. We're going to say score label dot position is equal to we're going to say score label dot position is equal to CG point, and then we're going to add in our CG rect get mid x. We're going to go to self.frame. That puts it in the middle here. And this is going to be really cool. We're going to say CG rect get mid y. And actually, we're going to say get min min get min y. We're going to go to self.frame. So this is going to put it right at the bottom here. Now, we do have to add in an offset. So let's add in 50. And let's take a look at it there here. Now let's also add in the score label dot text is equal to, and then we're going to say score colon backslash, and we're going to say score. So this will print the word score, and this will print the variable score. We're going to go to self.addChild, and we're going to say this is the score label. All right. Now let's scroll up all the way to the top here to our did move to view, and we're going to say spawn score label and spawn main label. Okay. Perfect. So if we run it here, hey, look at that. That looks actually pretty cool. Now, just being a little bit nitpicky, We're going to go to the score label. Instead of adding 50, we'll add something like 30. That way, it will be a little bit closer down to the bottom. Yeah, and I think that looks pretty good. Let's just take a couple seconds to look at this. This is a very simple game. However, you can see that it actually looks pretty good. We have an interesting looking font and we have a color scheme that works out. We have off black, off white, and then a color. And a color is fairly light. It's not a dark blue or a navy blue or anything like that. So that looks really neat in my opinion. Now, you always want to make sure that your color scheme works out. At this point in the game and at this stage, if your color scheme doesn't look great, that's okay. I always say that you should adopt a minimalist aesthetic and try and release games on that first, just to get used to making good game mechanics. But for now, we've spawned the labels, we've spawned the players here. Now what we need to do is we need to go and make this game a little bit more functional, and I'll show you how to do that in the next tutorial.